welcome to Spotlight Katie King. So thank you for coming in today. So we're going to talk to you a lot about your career in Dubai, how you've transferred back to the UK during the pandemic, you've set up a business, and you've got lots of advice and lots of directional steer for people struggling with toxicity and choices and how to push themselves forward. So just tell us a little bit about starting a business during lockdown, how, why, what made you do it?
So why did I start my business during lockdown? There were a couple of reasons. First of all, I was from the hospitality industry, and as you know, the hospitality industry took a hard hit during COVID, and it was up to me. Do I sit it out? I was still employed. Do I sit it out and wait, or do I use this opportunity to pursue something that I've always wanted to do? So I did. I took the time. I didn't have any distractions. I opened the business, and I felt that there was a lot of support. There was a lot of people who would normally be sat in an office environment doing their work that were actually available to help me. So I decided to do the business during the lockdown, because I felt there's no time like now. I have an opportunity, use it. And it's been fantastic. I mean, there have been some challenges, obviously opening a business during the lockdown. A lot of people may have assumed also in the beginning that it was a bit of a project of mine, and that once COVID finished, the industry opened up, that I'd be back on the first flight out to the next glamorous hotel opening. I think it's actually only now people are starting to take it quite seriously. And that if I go in with the same passion and the goals that I had when I started my career, in 10 years' time, they're going to be kind of doubting me in the beginning.
Like, moving on to talking about like toxicity in the workplace. Obviously, this is something that's highly emotive right now. You've got like the banks. The banks can't even get people to go and work there anymore on 110 grand starting salary straight out of uni, because not bothered.
Yeah.
Not bothered about 110 grand. They're bothered about being happy.
Yeah.
And the rest will follow. So when you worked in, you said you worked in a small team, and there was a sort of a really toxic environment there. What advice would you give to anybody that's in a toxic environment right now, and how do you get out of it, or how do you manage it?
My best advice is whatever you can do to get out of a toxic situation, do.
Like, leave as soon as you can.
Leave as soon as you can.
How important has LinkedIn been for you with starting your business?
Well, LinkedIn is an essential platform for my business, for Katie King & Co. It's not only has it got my entire network there. These are people who I've worked with. These are people that I will work with. People that will support me. People that will recommend me. Everybody, everything you need for business is basically on LinkedIn. If you need to get hold of somebody, you say it's the world's biggest address book, and you can get direct access to people, whether it's through in mail. You can tag people in things. You can share your expertise through articles. You can share documents. I've honestly, all round for LinkedIn, for my business, LinkedIn has been essential all around. And I believe it's a very underutilized tool, especially people in corporate. Now, once you become a small business owner, especially like mine, my business is named after me. I'm an expert. I need to ensure that my status is very clear. I need to know that when clients come to me, come to look at my LinkedIn page, they see an expert. To do that, you don't just have a picture, a list of your experience, and a quote or a recommendation.
Yeah.
You need to be proactive on it. You need to be commenting on relevant articles. You need to be putting your own advice, your own expertise, your own summaries of news stories. You need to show the world that you know what you're talking about. And that's what I do now. I've done a lot of that. And my advice to everybody, whether you're employed or self-employed, is to utilize it to the maximum. Upgrade it even.
Yeah, go premium on it.
Go premium. Every single person that looks at your profile, you should add that.
Yeah, go premium on it.
because that's your network. It's not like Facebook. This is the other thing that people make a mistake on LinkedIn, and I used to too. I don't know them. It's not Facebook.
No, it's not. It's relevance.
It's a professional network.
Yeah, it's relevance.
You know, you wouldn't go and join an organisation just because you knew everybody there and they were all your friends.
Yeah, it's relevance.
You know, it's you know that's where, and LinkedIn is essential, and I think you will agree it's basically it's an online marketplace.
Like not everyone's cut out to set up their own business. That's a given.
Yeah.
But everyone's like waiting for the perfect thing all of the time. Like perfect doesn't exist. It really is about sort of like seeing an opportunity and exploiting it. So how do you do that? How did you do that?
I have a lot of experience in a highly competitive market where there are opportunities, but they're snatched up quickly. You have to make opportunities, or you have to see something that might not be relevant to you, but you're going to get it.
Yeah.
So you have to make it relevant to you. So I think it comes from a lot of training and experience. It's being able to spot an opportunity, and then going about it the right way. You know, usually an opportunity is attached. Somebody is presenting that as a person presenting that opportunity. Whether it's a press article, whether it's to go back and lecture at university, there's a person behind that, and deal with that person as a person, and explain to them why the opportunity. Be humble. You know, you can't go in there saying, "Oh, I think this will really help my business. Please, can I be part of this?" Or "I'd really like to get involved." You be humble. You be candid, and a quote I learnt recently. You will only get in life what you have the courage to ask for. And that's beautiful. And it's so true. Very rarely are people going to present opportunities to you on a platter. So you have to go and get them.
I think, like you mentioned also, you talked about over-delivering in the preliminary questions and stuff. And I would say that one of the reasons that this business has been successful is because the fee is the fee, but the result is the result. Now, if you get your pricing wrong, that's your mistake.
Yeah.
You still need to deliver because you'll lose the contract, whatever. Yeah. And we have a massive emphasis on over-delivering here for the value. So, like, if a customer says to me, it's amazing value for money, it's like, bosh, that's literally all I want to hear, because you're not going to leave.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. So, like, why is over-delivering important for you?
You know, I think that it applies to all parts of life. You have an expectation. If you don't meet it, that's disappointment. If you do, that's happiness. If you go over the expectation, that's happiness. And if people in this happiness, clients, they're likely to come back.
And refer you.
And refer you. And it's true. I come from an environment that over-delivery is standard. It's standard. You don't go to a hotel and expect 5-star luxury service. You go to the hotel and you expect ultra luxury 5-star service. I have a lot of that hospitality in me. I don't think it's just because I'm from hospitality. I think as a business owner, you always want to over-deliver. And it's that fine balance of not setting standards too low or too high in the first place. I set my standards at an industry standard, and I aim to go over that because I do want them to come back. And I know being out of the country for a long time, there's a funny thing about us Brits. So we'll pay, and we'll pay if we feel like it's value. If we think that we're getting our money's worth out of this. Even if, not about getting the money's worth, if it's quality and we'll pay for value. The minute we feel we've been taken advantage of or we didn't get value out of that, we feel negative about it. We feel like we've been taken advantage of. I don't ever want my clients to ever turn around and think they didn't get value from my services. That's not what I aspire to be. So that is important. That's important to me. It's so important in the early days of business. But what I think is really important for people to remember is that it's not just in the early days of business. If you set this standard now, you have to maintain it. because you're just going to do the opposite later. If you stop dropping your standards, again, they'll stop talking about you, or they'll talk negatively about you. So yeah, it's so essential, and it's just me by nature. I wouldn't say I'm trying to get over the word perfectionist, because there isn't such thing as perfection, and I think that people that strive too much for perfection lose a lot of other things in the process. But I do like to, I have high standards for myself, for my employees, for my managers in the past, and I also have it for my work and my delivery for my clients, and that will never change.
Why is understanding that you're replaceable a life lesson?
Knowing that you're replaceable is a life lesson, and the earlier you learn it, the better. First of all, it's a really humbling, horrible feeling when you realise you're actually replaceable. That having your job as your identity, that was one big mistake, because when I left the company, the toxic environment, within a month I'd been headhunted and I was stepped up into a much bigger position. So it couldn't have been more perfect. But for that month, who was I? I wasn't the associate director of Fonelli anymore. I wasn't the PR manager at Jumeirah. I was just Katie.
Yeah, nothing.
And but that's it. That's it. That was the moment I realised I'm never going to just be that employee again. I need to have an identity. I'm Katie. I love TikTok dancing. I love animals. I am an adventurer. There's more to me than what is on my business card. And I think when I started doing that, life was better.
Yeah, I think that's probably something that we definitely try to get these guys to think about that in the early stages of their career, because that is super important. Yeah, super important. What's the value of being the eternal student?
The value in being the eternal student, I think that, if you ever stop learning, growing, how boring would life be? Like, think about it. Once you get to your total capacity of everything you ever know or whatever, you stop learning about new things, you stop proactively seeking information to better yourself. But how boring would that be? The other thing is as well, being in the role that I'm in, social media marketing, I'm an expert. I'm a social media expert today. But if I stop learning, and if I stop learning what's new, learning the techniques and tactics, I'll be a former social media expert in 6 months' time. So it's very important to me that I continue to maintain my knowledge. It comes back to opportunities. You get opportunities. The more you know, the more you can exploit, the more you can get the opportunities out of things. Forever. I don't actually... because I was just going well. Yeah, so for being an eternal student, I mean, look at everything that you see, everything that goes viral online. It's all new stuff. Learning is things you're learning something you didn't know, or they're showing you how to do something you didn't know. They're the ones that go viral. So if you think about the human nature, we like new things. We like to learn new things. We like to see new things. We like to do new things. And I guess it applies to me as a person. I like to keep developing my brain. I like to keep, I don't know it all. When it comes to learning and development, this is actually quite essential. The role I was doing before I opened my business, I was obviously head of department, running the marketing, probably the most iconic ship in the world after the Titanic. And I had a team. I had the creative direction, the strategy, and the vision, but I had a team executing it. I had digital. I had graphics. I didn't even take notes in my own meetings. I had an assistant for that. I had all of these things. So when I actually opened my own business, the reason I do what I do today, and I now build websites. I do social media advertising. I distribute newsletters. I create graphics. I literally do graphic design. Okay, I'm a Canva graphic designer, but I'm a graphic designer.
Yeah, of course.
I do it. Everything I've learned to do for my business, except for the things I already knew, things like copywriting, public relations, things like that. All of this technical stuff I've learned. I've taught myself. I've upskilled in the last year to be I can make money from it. Whereas before, so that, and I'll always be a student, because it's important.
That concludes another episode of Spotlight with Katie King today. Thanks for coming. It's been a pleasure to have you.